Hello everyone. Today we will present our HIRARC analysis of the PUTRA height gas pipeline explosion which happened in 2025. Introducing our group member, me myself ADILEA ADANI BINTI SUHARDI, and I'll be covering the part of introduction to risk assessment and HIRARC. First, let's talk about what is HIRARC. HIRARC stands for Hazard Identification, Risk Assessment, and Risk Control. It is the structured approach we use to identify hazards, measure the likelihood and severity of the risk they pose, and then apply the necessary controls. This is more than just a good practice. It's often required by law and is essential for improving overall safety and productivity. Risk assessment at its core is a systematic process of identifying hazards, assessing the risk they pose, and then putting controls in place to manage them. The main goal is to prevent accident and health problems in the workplace. In short, it's a key part of maintaining a safe working environment. So why do we do this? The importance of risk assessment is clear. It creates a safer workplace and reduces accident and injuries. It also helps promote a culture of awareness and responsibility among all of us. Our objective with this process is threefold. We need to find and evaluate hazards, then plan effective control measures to deal with them, and finally support a strong safety culture and ensure compliance with all regulation. In the next part of our presentation, we'll look at a real-world example of how HIRARC works, followed by BATRISYIA binti AHMAD SUHAIMI, and she'll be presenting the incident overview and also HIRARC analysis and risk matrix.
Now let's take a look at incident overview. On 1st April 2025 at 8 a.m., a serious accident occurred at Putra Heights, Subanjaya, Selangor. A pressurized gas pipeline ruptured, releasing gas that ignited into flames reaching over 30 meters high. The fire burned uncontrollably for more than 7 hours. The incident was triggered by soft moist soil, which caused ground instability combined with stress, fatigue. The pipeline ruptured. Gas escaped and eventually ignited, leading to the massive fire. The impact was severe. Over 150 people were injured and more than 500 were displaced. Hundreds of homes and vehicles were destroyed. Beyond the physical damage, the community faced panic, fear, and long-term psychological effects. Now let's move on to HIRARC analysis, where we assess hazards, risks, and control measurement. The first activity is pipeline installation. The main hazard here is ground instability. The likelihood is rated 3, while the severity is given 5, giving us a risk score of 15, which is considered high. To control this risk, measures such as geotechnical surveys and soil stabilization techniques are essential. The second activity is gas transmission. The primary hazard identified is gas leakage. The likelihood is higher at 4 and the severity is 5, resulting in a risk score of 20, which is also high. To reduce this risk, automated leak detection system and SCADA monitoring are recommended. This analysis clearly shows that both activities can carry high risk and effective preventive measures must be in place to ensure safety. Next, we have the risk matrix diagram, which helps us visualize the level of risk based on likelihood and severity. As we can see, the green area represents low risk, yellow indicates medium risk, and the red zone highlights high risk areas that need immediate attention. In this case, two hazards are plotted. ground stability falls under a score of 15, which is the high risk zone. Gas leakage is even more critical with a score of 20, placing it at the highest risk level on the matrix. The diagram shows us clearly that both hazards require agent control measures, but gas leakage poses the most severe threat and must be prioritized.
Followed by FATIN or AFRINA BINTI Muhammad ROZIMIN, and she will be covering the part of findings, recommendations, and last but not least, conclusion to our HIRARC analysis.
Now, let's take a look at the findings and recommendations. From the investigation, we found that the main cause of the explosion was ground instability beneath the pipeline. The soil was soft and waterlogged, which made it weak over time. This caused the pipeline to experience stress and eventually rupture. When it broke, gas escaped uncontrollably and ignited. The impact was made worse because residential houses were too close to the pipeline. There were also major weaknesses in the monitoring system and geotechnical checks. On top of that, the community was not fully prepared for an emergency, which made the situation even more difficult. To prevent such disaster from happening again, several important steps need to be taken. From an engineering perspective, the soil must be stabilized and monitored regularly. Pipeline should be built with flexible joints and fatigue-resistant materials. Advanced technologies like automated leak detections and a CADA system should also be installed to catch problems early. From an administrative point of view, regular geotechnical surveys and independent safety audits must be done. Safe buffer zones between pipelines and residential areas should be enforced, and safety protocols must always be updated and followed. For emergency preparedness, local authorities and operators need to organize community evacuation drills, install early warning systems, and improve communication with residents. There must also be strong coordination between Petronas, the fire department, DOSH, and local councils. Lastly, at the policy level, better land use planning is needed around critical infrastructure, and all high-pressure pipelines should have real-time monitoring. To conclude, this incident clearly shows what can happen when hazards are not identified and controlled properly. The main cause were ground instability and pipeline fatigue, and the fact that homes were built so close to the pipeline made it even worse. If HIRARC had been used effectively, this risk could have been identified and controlled before the disaster occurred. HIRARC is not just a legal requirement, it is an essential tool for saving lives, protecting property, and preventing environmental damage. By making HIRARC part of our company culture, we can create safer workplace and prevent tragedy like this from happening again. So that is all from us. Thank you.